the modernist works. And then once you understand that, you can take the system and plug it in, 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 anywhere. That's what you can do. So, in any case, he's got 7 heads. He wants you to think, one of the first things that the modernist tells you, each science is independent. Each science is unrelated to every other science, particularly religious sciences and physical sciences. These sciences should never be connected because remember, going back to our chart, what's the principle? The beyond the phenomena, which is this purple stuff here, these things are not real. And the things in the black are real. So, and they never ever, remember the lines never cross. So therefore, if in theology we learn that God created all things in 6 days, that's fine to believe that. But we know in science that the world evolved over millions of years. There should be no conflict between the man that knows that the world has evolved in millions of years through scientific evolutionary processes, and the same man that believes God truly created the world in 6 days. This isn't a problem, and it's not a contradiction. Why not? Because I believe in my spiritual mind that God created the world in 6 days. That has a lot of meaning. It just means a lot. 6 is a very important number. You know, I was born on the 6th of June. 6 is such an important number to me. It's an ancient number to man. 6 days is very important, and yesterday, love was such an easy game to play, and I love days. So, it's whatever is spirit, it means a lot to me, and I firmly believe it in my spiritual mind. But in my real mind, I know that the world was evolved over millions of years. And there shouldn't be any conflict. The Catholic religion and evolution have no conflict one with another. And St. Pfeiffer says, when the modernist tells you that, know this. He is a liar. He is a liar. Why does he tell you that? In order that you might put your guard down. Come back tomorrow, and he'll tell you you can't believe in the 6 days anymore. Come back the next day, and he'll tell you that your spirituality is only for morality. Remember about 30 years ago, the average human being believed that morality, being good and avoiding evil in our moral conduct, was a matter of religion, whereas the real world's construction and makeup was a matter of science. But we now know that it is a matter of science that homosexuality is a normal behavior for some human beings. And therefore it is not a matter of morality. We now know that homosexuality has exited the realm of morality and is in the realm of science. And therefore it is no longer the right for a religious individual to comment on homosexuality. And if people of religion speak against homosexuality, they are going against the known dictates and proving of science. Therefore they can be imprisoned. They can be thrown out of, they can lose their tax-exempt status, they can be fined, they can be shut down. Because they're not staying in the purple world of religion. Now how that happened? Remember the chart. Visible world grows. The religious world shrinks. Yesterday the priest could tell you you could not be married 10 times. Yesterday the priest could tell you you could not be homosexual and practice the vice of homosexuality and go to heaven. Now the priest can no longer tell you that because science has advanced. Is science going to stop advancing? No. Already, I myself have already seen, just walking by TV sets in the airport and seeing part things here and there. I saw about 5 years ago already an English TV show, whatever it was. I don't know the name of it, in which these people got together and they had a bishop who was an African bishop defending that Christianity has been good for humanity, and they had a scientist defending that Christianity was bad for humanity. And the African bishop did a good job of explaining, And in the very beginning, they asked people, who thinks religion is good for humanity? And about 70% raised their hands, said it was good for humanity. Then they had a debate. At the end of the debate, about 30% raised their hands and said that religion was good for humanity. In fact, the African vision explained quite well, in the part that I saw, how humanity would be to hell in a handbasket without religion. The scientist was an idiot, but obviously the crowd was a kind of a rigged crowd, and it was a rigged, arranged TV show to get people to realize, look, we have to face religion has been the cause of all the wars in society. Religion has been the cause of all violence. Look at the Muslims fighting the Christians, the Protestants fighting the Catholics. It's religion that's the problem. So therefore, in order to have an ordered society, the next stage, we must be rid of religion. St. Pius X points that out. So remember, this is an ongoing application of the movements of the modernist universe. 4 elements: subconscious, conscious, visible phenomena only as visible, and beyond the phenomena. Beyond the phenomena, realm of religion. Subconscious on the inside, realm of religion, always shrinking. Conscious, realm of the psychiatrist, the psychologist, and the doctor. And the visible reality, the realm of the philosopher and the scientist. These things are going to continue to grow. So, how does it happen? Well, the modernist explains this one science of all things. What happens? In the very beginning, everything begins, the first step is agnosticism. First step. Man comes into the world. You see here, I think it's in the Phenomenism, Agnosticism, Vital Eminence, and then creation. Now, so the first step is agnosticism. Remember this about everything. The first step in theology, agnosticism. The first step in history, agnosticism. The first rule of the critic, agnosticism. First rule of the apologist, agnosticism. First rule of the reformer, agnosticism. The real world begins with agnosticism. Now here the key to understand about agnosticism. Agnosticism means, here's the key element, I cannot know God. Now you can replace God with Muhammad Ali, you can replace God with George Bush, with Donald Trump, with the Muslim religion, with anything. So remember, it's a system. So right now we're talking about God. We can plug out God, plug in anything. My first knowledge is I'm absolutely certain that I cannot know God and no one can know God. Okay? No one can know God. Remember, the idea of agnosticism is that it's beyond knowledge. So you don't know the 5 notions of the Blessed Trinity. You don't know the 5 notions of the Blessed Trinity. You don't have them memorized. But all you have to do is be told them, and then you will know them. You may not know all the details of the principles of geometry, but you can look it up and you will know them. This is not what we mean by agnosticism. Here we mean that it is impossible to know, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how studied you are, you cannot know. This is the key to the success of the modernist in his argumentation. Now, with regard to anything that's not visible, first principle, that which is not principle cannot be known by anyone, period. Finished. Remember, part of our creed, God created all things visible and invisible. He did not only create visible things, He created invisible things. Not just the angels, but in fact the invisible elements of our universe. He created visible and invisible things. And in fact, the things, nature, is always invisible. Like darkness, tableness, whiteboardness, baldness, all that is invisible, stickness. But it's real, and it's created by God. So the modernist says, it's not real. And that's how he begins. But later on he's going to tell you, the only person that can know this stuff, well, happens to be, well, me. And here is the key difference between modernism and subjectivism. First step, agnosticism. Whenever you meet anyone on any subject, you know, I'm a theologian, and I can tell you that the Catholic Church teaches that there are 5 notions in the Blessed Trinity. Look, I never heard that before. I don't know anything about it. And I know that you can't know that, because if it was known, it would have been on the news. If it was known, I would have known about it already. Cannot be known. Now you'll notice in the world today, this kind of argument is normal amongst everybody. How come I never heard about it? How come I didn't see it? How come I don't know it? If I don't know it, no matter what it is, it cannot be known, and no one can know it. Principle number 1, agnosticism. St. Vincent says, how does this begin? Later on, I think it's paragraph 41. He says, modernism lives in pride as in its own house. Modernism lives in pride as in its own house. Pride is the foundation. Pride is what makes modernism powerful inside of hearts. Pride is what makes modernism work inside of hearts. See, agnosticism, no matter what the subject is, I remember one man used to tell me, you know, my wife, she's an expert on philosophy. Unless you're talking science, and she's an expert on science. Well, unless you're talking history, well then she's an expert on history. She's only an expert on one subject, that is, the subject you're talking about right now. You can change that subject as many times as you like, and you will discover that she is the expert on every single stinking one of them. That's actually modernism. It's not just pride, but it's pride turned into a system. It's pride turned into a way of operating in every aspect of life. Normal pride doesn't actually operate like that. Normal pride is, you know, I play basketball, I'm better than all you guys, but at least I play basketball. So if I never dribbled a ball in my life, I'm not going to claim that I'm better than all you guys. There was a musician that told me about that. I went to one wedding back about 20 years ago. I went to a wedding. I went into one of the many weddings, and they had this band. And it was a rock and roll band, and the youngest guy in the band was, I think, 106 or something. You know, they were singing, you know, what is it, some, I don't know, Beatles or something, but Beatles were quite, these guys were 106. I said, what on earth has happened to you guys? And he says, well, the guy told me, he says, you know what happens, we're trying to, you know, when we used to start playing, he says, you know now what happens, a guy comes in, he wants to be a drummer. He's beat on a drum for 2 days. He doesn't even know how to hit it in time or whatever. He's got to be the lead drummer, and he's an expert in drums. Another guy comes in who's picked the guitar twice, doesn't even know where the notes are. I can play the guitar, man. I'm really good. He can't even strum the guitar and play crap music. He's an expert. Because we can't teach these guys. Everybody is an expert in everything, and this is a hallmark of our age and one of the goals of where the modernist is leading. Now, whether you believe that, now the real person does that, he becomes usually, he can't accomplish anything. But in fact, there's only going to be one true expert. So agnosticism is the beginning. And we must remember that, the difference between subjectivism and modernism. Subjectivism teaches that whatever you believe is right, whatever I believe is right, we all believe different things and they're all right. One's right for you, the other one's right for me. Modernism does not teach that. Modernism is completely objective. Modernism believes that there's only one objective truth. And it's the hard truth, whether you like it or not. There's only one truth. This truth, however, changes. Why does it change? Because of evolution. Since the truth changes, if you grab onto a truth that you understood when you were 5, when you come back at 10, it's useless because the truth has changed between 5 and 10. And therefore, how is the only way that I can come into contact with true, objective truth? The only way, the latest expert. Expert, latest expert. Whatever the latest expert says is true. You know, I actually had an argument with a society priest. One example, I mentioned it sometimes in sermons or in talks about 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago. With an SSPX priest, we argued about margarine and butter. Very theological argument. And he said, you know, scientists proved in the 1970s that butter is bad for your health and you need margarine. Remember, margarine's good for you, butter is bad. And so for about 30 years, margarine was really good, butter was really bad. But they discovered in the late 90s that margarine is bad and butter is good. So butter became good again. So if you had margarine in 1979, you're healthy. If you had butter in 1979, you're dying. If you have margarine in 2009, you're dying. If you have butter in 2009, you're healthy. Why? Because the scientists' view of margarine and butter changed. Therefore, the effects of margarine and butter on the body changed. That is really stupid. But that is how modernism works. And we had this argument, and we argued.